Okay, so I'm going to be showing you how to add your own custom bees and hives to the Gendustry mod. There's not a lot of documentation on this, and this is specifically for the 1.7.10 version. Okay, your best resource to start off is Bees wiki. Shout out to this guy. He's got most of it lined out on how to do exactly what I'm going to be telling you, but it's not always the easiest to understand, I've found. So, for example, if we go to over here, or if we go to configuration, we see all of this, right? This is pretty confusing to look at first, so I'm just going to basically show you exactly how to do that. First thing you got to do, assuming you download this mod, you need forestry to run this mod, first of all. So I have this project here that I've been working on. You need forestry. I also recommend you get Benny's Core and Benny's Patcher. All of these mods, these are pretty good and just help you better at bees. All of this stuff adds bees into the game. So you're going to want to go to whatever project you're in, get into the files, go to config, go to the Gendustry file, which should be here. All right, now when you open this, you're probably not going to have any of these files, okay? We need to make two files that are very important. I'm just going to make a pretend file real quick. So first off, what we have to do, pretend this is the Gendustry folder. New text document, and you can name this whatever you want. I'm going to name it bees because that makes sense. And then you go over here, change this to CFG, enter, yes, okay. So this is going to be where you store most of the code for adding your own custom bees and combs and honey drops, which you can then incorporate into centrifuge recipes, all of that stuff. The second file, which is arguably the most important, is how you name what items you're making, basically. This has to be the same name as your file up here. So what we're going to do is bees.en_us for the language. It's just easier to understand. And then you do .lang. Enter. Yes. Okay, so now you should have these two files. Basically, at the end of the day, if you want to add hives that drop these custom bees, you have to do it within these. You basically do the same thing, but just name it hive. That's pretty simple. So I'll go into the bees.cfg code right here. So at first, you're not going to really have much in here. So you're going to want to specify this module first. That's saying basically, if you have forestry bees installed, then run this code. So the first thing you want to establish is the branch. Now, if we look at this, if we look at in Minecraft here, these bees here have branches, right? This is basically what you're establishing. You're establishing a tree for the bees. So CFG branches, then you have to establish the name. This can be any name. Just make sure it's consistent. It has to be capital, or it doesn't have to be capital, excuse me. It just has to be case sensitive. So here it's fine, capital is fine, but for here, notice we still use atomic. So this branch is for radioactive bees. So the UID, gendustry.atomic, make sure you have these quotes. These are just notes. These basically tell you don't have to put these when you're making your own code. But in the parent, you're probably most likely going to want to put this. This is how you get the bees. So you need to put this name. And then for this is going to be a somewhat common theme. It's the name plus is, okay? So you see this in other places here. All right, now you have to close out the bracket, and then you start, and this is basically defining the bee. So you can name the bee species. I've named this uranium, and then these spaces don't really matter. You can kind of just delete these, but sometimes it's easier to understand. So this dominant, you're gonna want to make the species dominant. Glowing, I chose no. It doesn't really matter. Once again, you can look at the wiki if you want to find out exactly what all of these mean. But this is just an example of the code. Then these hex colors, you can use any site like hex color lookup or something like that and just find it. Don't include the hashtag, make sure it's an X. It's got to be in this format. So you basically copy the hex and just put it here. Keep all that. So this tells what color the bees are actually going to be. Keep the secret off unless you want to hide the recipes. So humidity and temperature, this, assuming you have some understanding of forestry, you need certain bees require certain temperature and humidity in order to breed and mutate. So this just defines that here. I've opted for a warmer temperature for uranium and a normal humidity. The binomial uranium is, once again, authority. You want to make this a custom mod. This authority is because this is a modded item. It's not added in forestry, so that's why I use that. And then this branch is basically what's telling this item what family it's in. So we're going to use the Gendustry atomic branch, which we set here. Now this drop list, you need to basically assign this name. So whatever name you use here, so let's say it could be anything like tin, right? So if you have tin here, it's got to be here too, honeycomb.tin or uranium, basically. That's the drop for the honeycomb. Okay, that's what's going to make sure the honeycomb drops. Also, here's the percentage. You can change it to something like 10, right? That might be better suited. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then here, this is, you can assign any species you want here. It's just going to copy the traits. I didn't really feel like typing out all the traits, so I just copied from the industrious species. You can if you want to. Moral of the story. Now, to actually add the combs into the game, right? This file right here, this tells honeycomb, you have to have this, honeycomb like this, and then you define the uranium. See, it's the same as this up here. Uranium, and then you need to find a new blank ID for your stuff. A good way to do it, if you install the mod tell me, you can do /tellme dump item. I'm not going to do it, but tell me dump item will give you a list of all the items in the game, and you can find an empty one, basically. So I use the same hex colors. You need these because this is actually defining what the item looks like too. So these hex colors change the color of it. And then this is the honey drop, right? Same uranium tag, different number, important, different number. And then I use the same hex tags. All right. And then basically you just continue. You add as many items as you want in the same format. You just change the name and make sure if you want the same branch. I chose for atomic. Further on down the line, we're like, oh, I want to add something new. You can just literally slap in a new branch, right? So I made a new branch here called metallic, Gendustry metallic is, and now these items, advanced alloy, contains the metallic. This bee will now be in the metallic family, right? So that's pretty unique and pretty customizable, to be honest with you. So regardless, all of this is basically the same. There's an important way to close out this code here, and I'll also show you mutations and stuff real quick. But you got to close it out with these two lines here because we've established that up here, right? So you got to close it. Don't forget. Okay. Now these recipes show the mutations of bees. So I'll go into the game and we'll look at these bees. These are the bees that I've implemented, right? So let's look at the Sherbidian bee. We can go here. We can go here and see with the mutatron, we can combine the uranium drone and the nuclear princess to get a Sherbidian bee queen. Perfect. Exactly what we need, right? So that's what we do here. Mutation, the chance for just normal breeding which is evident in the bee breeding. You see 3%, but this is different. This is the mutation also. So you got to use the name. This is really important. I was tripped up here for a minute. You have to use this name, Gendustry bee uranium. This is defining the name, and this will probably be, if you've added your own item, this will probably be exactly what it is. So it's the uranium item. Notice it's like the all caps, it's case sensitive, all of that stuff. So Gendustry.b uranium, and then you have to find the UID of the bee that you want. So we want the nuclear bee. One of the easiest ways to do it, I'll just show you on this, is you do /mine tweaker, assuming you have that mod installed, which you should. Mine tweaker hand, enter. And then you can see up here, extra bees species.river. That is what you're looking for. That is the name of this item. So you would put that here, right? Extra bees.species.river or nuclear, whatever. And then this is telling you what the output is. This shrubbidium is a custom bee that I've defined, so it's going to be gendustry.b.shrubbidium. And then this tells you what temperature, right? You have hellish, warm, hot, normal, cold, and I think damp or something like that. Once again, check the wiki. But that is basically all you got to do. And then in this lang file, these hashtags just mean the code. This line doesn't run. It's describing what the code is doing. So you find the name of this item. So gendustry.branch.uranium. You're defining the name of the branch, and I realize this is kind of out of date, to be honest with you. So I'll just show you for this. It doesn't matter if there's some stuff messed up in here, really, unless it's like atrocious, but as long as you basically define all of these. So you go gendustry.honeycomb.uranium.name, which is probably going to be the name of your honeycomb. This will be swapped with whatever ore, but this is probably what it's going to be. So you do $, no space, and then whatever the name, you can make this rat's ass. It doesn't matter what the name is, but that's how you decide what the game shows, basically. So, and then same for the honey drop. I've found that you also need to identify the species. So I do gendustry.bees.species, and then you can change this. Notice I copy and paste this, and I just change out the name for everything. I just go copy, paste, right? Copy, paste. It's really simple. So most of these are going to be correct if you've created the custom bee. So I go .queen.drone.princess equals uranium queen, uranium drone, uranium princess. And real quick for the hives, this is a little more complicated. I would check the wiki for this exactly, but to be honest with you, you should just try to incorporate other bees in the mod to get the materials you need. So that's it. See y'all.